You've been connected to the DedSecCast. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 13 of the DedSecCast. It's been a while since the last episode, over a year actually, but I wanted to do something special because exactly 1 year ago today, Watch Dogs 2 released. So I thought to myself, why not bring back the DedSecCast with a bang? So joining me today, we have Chase Straight, community developer on Watch Dogs 2. Chase.
Hey, what's up?
I think it's the part where you're supposed to say hi, Chase.
Oh.
Hi, Chase. Okay, well, there you go. There's Chase. And then we also have David Terrio, product manager on Watch Dogs 2. How are you, David?
Hey, everyone. I'm awesome, Brett. What about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you both so much for coming on. I seriously do appreciate it. Before we dive into the questions, I just want to quickly mention that we are giving away some prizes to celebrate. And those prizes are 5 copies of Watch Dogs 2, 2 vinyl copies of the soundtrack, and Marcus's jacket, specifically in medium size. So to win one of these, all you have to do is comment down below what prize you want and why you love the Watch Dogs franchise. So it's pretty simple. We'll pick our favorite comments on, let's say Friday, November 17th, and then I'll just private message you on YouTube for more details and shipping information. But honestly, a huge thanks to both you guys and Ubisoft for providing these prizes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit jealous because I don't have a copy of the soundtrack. I don't have Marcus's jacket, so whoever wins those, just know I'm jealous. And also, before I forget, the Watch Dogs Discord is doing a massive event today. They're giving away prizes as well, and the voice actors for the game, specifically Marcus, Wrench, Josh, and T-Bone, will be chatting with fans on the Discord. So if you're interested in that, please check out the description for more information.
This is so cool. I didn't know about that. I'm super.
Oh yeah, they put together like a full-on event. Like I love it.
Also, will you guys be there too?
Yes.
Yeah, we will.
So it's hard to say at what time specifically because I don't know yet what my schedule tomorrow, aka today, is gonna look like. But I should be able to join at some point. I'll definitely hit you guys up and let you know, give you a heads up first.
All right. And Chase and David, I also mentioned right at the start what your positions at Ubisoft are, but I wanted to go a bit more in depth with that. I was wondering if both of you could explain more specifically what your positions are like for those watching who may not know. And Chase, I guess we can start with you.
Yeah, so I'm the community developer on the game. I worked alongside Hanny Zhuang, who's also a community developer in the pre-launch and most of the post-launch of the game. It's hard to describe what we do because we wear a lot of different hats, everything from creating content and doing events and programs and live operations of the game. We do a lot of things, but I guess it boils down to just making sure that the community has the information that they need, that they are being treated how they deserve to be treated, and that their voices are heard back to the dev team. So we're kind of the conduit between everyone who cares about the game and the people who are making the game.
Yeah, I think it's important to say also that Chase is working directly with the developers. So, sitting right next to them, just like me. So it makes a really big difference in our ability to go from you guys to the dev team really quickly. So,
that's not to say I haven't been called a fake developer a time or two.
You are a bit of a fake developer.
Right, yeah.
As of me, so my official position is international product manager. It's mostly marketing on a production level, which means I work directly with the dev team, and as we build the game, I build the brand alongside with them. We decide, what are the main elements that we're going to want to put forward, what are the cool things that we feel people are going to like the most. Then we start to develop different images, posing for character when we're going to announce the game, and we really develop basically all the pillars and the foundation of communication and branding for the game and the brand that we're working on. And once we announce the game, then I become kind of like more of a, and I know it's going to sound really cheesy, but more kind of a watchdog, basically, where I work with tons of marketing people around the world. So awesome other UB marketing people who are going to adapt all of this material for their own territory. And basically, I just make sure that everything stays on brand, and I work with them to define all the events that we're going to do, make sure that the devs are going to be able to travel and showcase the game to the world. So yeah, it's a really cool job.
And also, like, don't you kind of work on the trailers a bit for the game?
Yes, definitely. It's part of my job. So I do events, I do a bit of PR, but I do also a lot of what we call assets. So basically trailers, screenshot images. I mostly do trailers on my side because it's what I like the most. But yeah, I do that too.
Also, this is kind of random, but I just realized, like, I met both of you back in 2014. Like, Chase, I don't know if you remember, but we actually met at PAX East when you were working on Siege.
Yeah, I remember. And Tom Clancy was there, the young
Yep.
Tom
Yeah.
with an H.
And I probably had like 10,000 subs, which is just crazy to think about. And David, we didn't meet in real life until last year, but I do remember, like, literally the first month I started my channel, you were sharing my analysis videos, and that was like back in March of 2014.
For
How many subs you get to now?
130,000.
how crazy is
Killing
that?
it.
That's insane.
amazing.
It's,
That's insane.
I don't know how. It's, yeah, I just, like, when I look at my stats, I'm just like, how did it even become this thing? Like, I just started making videos on Watch Dogs for fun, and then it kind of turned into a job, which is just, I don't know. It is crazy to think about.
Well,
Cool.
that's what
I'm
people like.
sometimes surprised that anyone lets David and I do what we do. I figure like one day they're gonna find us out and tell us to leave.
But congratulations, though. That's awesome. That's
Thank
really,
you.
really awesome.
And it's crazy, like, to think that was, 3 years ago when I started. But now I want to even go further back to 2009, which, for those of you who don't know, that's like when development or the idea for this game kind of started. So I guess my first question is, like, who was the person who, like, originally pitched the idea of Watch Dogs to the studio?
Oh boy, yeah, we're going back in time. So first, as a like massive disclaimer, I'm never gonna pretend like I have like all the answers, and I don't want to talk for developers either, but I do know a lot. So I'm gonna try to do my best to give you like the best picture possible. But if ever there's anything I'm not quite sure, I'll definitely go and try to get this 100% confirmation with the dev. But when it comes to Watch Dogs, it started a long time ago with Dominic Gay, the senior producer of the brand, and Jonathan Morin, the creative director. They both just got off of a project which at the time I think was Far Cry 2, but I do not want to, so I'm going to try to confirm that, but I think it was Far Cry 2. And they knew each other at the time, and they both started to talk about common interests. And one of these interests was how they both had a fascination for technology. Like how technology at the time was starting to really take a lot of a bigger place in people's life, and how it was already kind of like shaping up the way we were talking to each other, the way we were communicating to each other. And what's crazy is at the time, like, we're talking about like mostly text messages and emails, right? Maybe the beginning of social media, but the iPhone didn't even exist. Like, that's crazy. Just to think about how far we need to go back in time. And especially when you think that in Watch Dogs you hack with like a phone that's kind of like an iPhone. So this idea was not even there at the time. So they started to think about that, and through this common interest, they decided that they both wanted to get in this adventure of what if we make a game that kind of like takes this concept of technology and big data and privacy and all that comes with it, and that leads to hacking at some point also. And they pitched this idea, and it got traction, and so they started to work on what was codename at the time Nexus, which was the code name for it was not even Watch Dogs at the time. It was basically a prototype.
I remember like some images had Nexus, and that word is still like in Watch Dogs, right?
Yes, so we definitely, we kept that as an Easter egg, if you will. The Nexus logo is basically the logo that Aiden wears on his mask. And the So it's kind of a connection line with a broken line in it, and this disruption was there to kind of like represent hacking and how hacker were able to like disrupt signals and disrupt the status quo and change a lot of things. And then we used that as an inspiration to name the engine of the game, which became Disrupt. So these are cool Easter eggs that kind of led to from the concept of the game to the first project they started to work on, and then all of this in 2012 became Watch Dogs.
And I wanted to quickly ask, like, when did you start working on the franchise?
Yeah, so I got in on the beginning of 2013. So basically, the game was already announced at its first E3, and I got in for, I would say, the second half of the campaign, and then we announced the delay of the game from November to May, and then we kind of like rebooted the campaign, and it went back from there. But yeah, so beginning of November 13.
And like a follow-up to that is, what was your reaction when Watch Dogs finally released? And Chase, I know you weren't working on Watch Dogs, but you were like still at Ubisoft, so I'm curious to know what your reaction was as well.
When it released?
Yeah.
I can go ahead.
Oh yeah. You go ahead, and I'll follow up from you.
So I mean, it's always crazy. I feel the weird thing. Watch Dogs was a new IP, right? So it's always a massive challenge. You build everything from scratch, from like the world, the lore, the characters, the mechanics, and new IP usually equal a long and personal investment. You know, this game took pretty much 4 years almost to build. So there's a syndrome which I call, you start to talk a lot to yourself. You know, it's only you with yourself, basically the team with the team, and it takes a long time before you start to like unveil everything. So honestly, all I remember when the game finally released was just like pure happiness all around. Like people were just, including me, like people were just so happy to finally have this product out there, finally having people experiencing the world, playing in it, messing around with it. And that's why we make games, right? Like we make these crazy world and adventures for people to experience. So I just remember the first day I got to work after the day released, and all I could see on like all the computer screens of all the employees were just like tons of Twitch screens with like everyone watching streamers playing the game and like talking to each other and being like, hey, look at what this guy did, or like, oh shit, this person already found this Easter egg that we thought would take like, 2 months for them to find, or like, everyone just realizing like, wow, it's out there, and now we're actually getting to see people play it live, and it's just a crazy feeling. So what I remember was just like full-on happiness, and the game was well received, and the sales were going well, so it was just like cherry on top, and it was a good feeling. It was really, really cool.
I definitely didn't get to share in the same level of excitement that the people who had given their blood, sweat, and tears to the game at that point were feeling. But for me, it was really exciting too. Ever since that first trailer dropped, and seeing the evolution of the game, I was really interested in the IP. It was really exciting. And seeing it come out and do as well as it did, it reminded me a lot of Assassin's Creed, the very first one. There were definitely, I think, some improvements that people wanted to see on it, but it was attempting to do this, groundbreaking type of gameplay that hadn't been tackled by other games at that time, and I think it delivered on a lot of those really core things. And then when I had the chance to work on Watch Dogs 2, I was really excited because I knew that we were going to take all the great stuff that they pioneered with that first one and build from that. So yeah, it was really cool to see.
And like from my perspective, like I was obviously excited for the release as well as a fan, but at the same time, it's like, oh shit, the game just released, and like now it's time to make a ton of content. So like I was pretty stressed out for a bit because I was like balancing school, a job, and YouTube. But like looking back at it now, I would definitely do it again. Just covering Watch Dogs is literally my favorite part about this channel, just because like it's where I started, and the concept of it is just, I love it, honestly.
Well, I mean, that's for people like you to make the game, right? And I think it's just your reception of the game is basically the reason why I feel everyone at the studio just keeps pushing and pushing the boundaries of gaming and just trying to release like the best experiences possible, because the best reward that they get after is literally watching other people play their game. So it's, yeah.
And like I
Sure.
mentioned, like when I started out, like David, you were sharing my tweets, and Nick, who was the community developer at the time.
Yes,
And
Nick.
and then for Watch Dogs 2, like Chase, you were sharing my tweets like on the Watch Dogs Twitter, and on your personal, David, you were still sharing my videos. So I just want to say, like, if you want to start making content, whether that actually be videos, fan art, cosplay, like just tweet at them, and like you'll be seen. Like, you guys check Twitter so much. So, like, if you're a fan and want to get involved, just tweet at them. It's really simple.
Sure, and feel
Definitely.
free to,
And I would,
I was just gonna say, feel free to tag our personal accounts too. We have a global community team that is monitoring, all of the different social media accounts, and the volume in them does get kind of high. So it's, some, I'll be honest, sometimes we're not able to watch every single video that goes out there. We do see a lot of them, but not every single one. But, like Dave and I like tag our personal accounts. Like, we'll look at them, and if someone else had missed them, we'll make sure that that they're not missed and shared, and internally and externally. We love seeing that kind of stuff.
yeah, definitely. And I would go as far as saying, like, same thing for, I can't talk for other company, even I'm sure, and I know they have great community team and they're definitely listening. But I mean, at Ubisoft, we definitely put a lot of pride and effort into making sure that, we're always listening. So, I mean, regarding the brand that you want to get involved with, or regarding regardless of the content that you want to create, or just don't hesitate. Sometimes we think like, oh, it's a big company, there's so many people, it might not be worth a shot. It totally is worth a shot. And there's always someone who's going to look at your content, and we just share all of it. So share away.
And like, it's funny because I kind of made a video critiquing Watch Dogs 2 where I was just talking about, things I wanted to improve on. And like, Chase, you actually ended up responding and saying like, thanks for the feedback, even though that was, I wouldn't say a negative video. It was like constructive criticism, but like, also, feel free to share that if you're in the community as well. Obviously, don't just, post a hate tweet, but if you actually get feedback, like, you guys are listening.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah, we
always
do.
listening to criticism.
Criticism, and feel free to put it out there. Like, we we monitor things that go on, and like Reddit is an amazing place to share feedback, because it helps us get a sense of the scale of certain feedback. Sometimes people come in and have like a specific point of feedback, get a bunch of upvotes and things like that. Let us know that, okay, so this is a thing that a lot of people care about. And then of course, we check that against data, we check that against our own playtesting, we check that against a ton of different things. But having discourse in the community really lets us see what is important to players, and we do pay attention.
All right. For these next two questions, I'm assuming David will have to answer them because they're pretty in depth about the first game. And Chase, you kind of like joined Watch Dogs 2. I'm sorry. Okay.
It's all right. Yeah, you can mention me for this one. It's cool.
Okay. So David, are you ready to answer these?
Yes and no.
Are you, David?
Okay, so apparently in the game files, there was stuff hinting at Aiden and Nikki actually being married, and Lena was going to be their daughter. So I just want to know, was this true? And if so, like, why did you guys end up making the decision to, change that idea?
Damn, that's a really specific question. So, I mean, to be really honest with you, was it at some point like in a piece of paper or in a piece of code? And probably, like I told you, I got in on the project in November 13, and by then I would say the narrative of the game was pretty, finished at this point in terms of like really high level elements like that. So was there an actual relationship at some point? This is something I would need to dig deeper, but to be honest with you, there's game changes a lot during development, and it's totally a possible thing. But I feel this is something, since I've not really heard about it a lot, I feel this is something that maybe went away a bit quickly. I think it fits the direction of Aiden's personality, right? Like he's definitely a loner. He's definitely someone who's having a lot of trouble kind of like figuring out how to handle himself with other people and how to like interact with people and how to make room for other people in his life. So it might have been a possibility, but I feel like the team kind of like realized pretty quickly maybe that his personality was going against that, and that having a brother-sister relationship was also an interesting topic. But
yeah. I was gonna say, I'm like for that idea of being brother and sister, because like being a married couple just would have been, pretty generic. And like I know some people may have preferred that for whatever reason, but I like that you guys went a different route with that.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't see a story with Aiden being married, but who knows?
Okay, so on to the second question. In the game, there's a side mission where you kill the Abstergo CEO. You know where this is going.
Yeah.
But you guys have stated multiple times, just saying, it's Easter eggs, but you kind of kill the CEO. So like, these universes kind of have to be connected, like, right?
So you're basically asking if it's an Easter egg or if it's canon, right? So, okay, let me ask you this. Do you want this to be canon or not?
Yes, I do. I think it would be interesting to have like Assassin's Creed's modern day and Watch Dogs modern day like take place and, have crossover. I think it'd be cool.
So the funny thing is, I knew that because recently I'm pretty sure everyone who's gonna listen to this podcast is already aware, but if you haven't played Assassin's Creed Origin, there's gonna be a tiny spoiler over here. So I'm just warning you.
I made a video on it already, so
yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure your people knows about it. But so there's an Easter egg in ACO about Watch Dogs, and the fun thing is I knew they were working on it. They're the Black Flag team. We already kind of like established a little something between Black Flag and the first Watch Dogs game, and I knew they were working on something, but I didn't dig any deeper. Like I kind of wanted to have the surprise at launch, and I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool that they kept this narrative going, and that they kept this the Easter egg alive and kind of like pushed it even further. Then to answer your question, is it conceptually like canon or not? I feel like it's not for me to say at this point. I feel like we need like a more eye-level conversation with the right people to answer this question. But I mean, everyone knows that Ubisoft loves to have fun with our brand, and that there's always a little potential somewhere that something bigger is happening in the background. So I like to keep doors open. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm really enjoying listening David squirm to this question.
And like David, there is also a theory saying, like to build on that all Ubisoft games are kind of in the same universe, which is crazy because, that would mean like the Rabbids would be in the same world as like Watch Dogs, which to be fair, we have seen, their toys in Watch Dogs 1 and 2, but yeah, I'm sure those are just Easter eggs.
It would make for quite an interesting game with a mashup of everything. But I like to keep door opens and just make sure that if people want to make up something, they have the freedom to do so. So yeah,
nothing is true, everything is permitted, right? So
I like that.
Good job, Chase. Okay, so now that we got a bit of history lesson about Watch Dogs 1, I want to switch topics and talk about Watch Dogs 2. More specifically, let's start with both of your reactions to the second game being released. Obviously, it was a bit different for you, Chase, since you were on the team for this launch. And then, David, how did this launch compare to the first game? And I guess, Chase, we can start with you.
was amazing. You know, coming onto the Watch Dogs 2 team, I instantly fell in love with the game and the promise and everything that the team wanted to do, and not just like the creation that they were making, but the people that were involved in it. I mean, I can say that the Watch Dogs 2, I'm really not kissing butts here, but like the Watch Dogs 2 team is one of the best development teams that I've ever worked with. Like some of the most brilliant minds in gaming, people who are passionate about what they are creating, people who care, people who want to do bold, cool things. And so it was just it was a lot of like really good vibes and passion and love into this project from the beginning of it. So to be there with the team, you know, when the game finally came out was it was a really incredible feeling, and to see it reviewed as well as it was, it made me feel very, very proud to be a part of it. Like sometimes I still like pinch myself and I'm like, oh, I'm on this team. Like, you know, like it's crazy. But yeah.
And David, like, how did the launch kind of compare to the first game for you, since you already launched a new IP and this was kind of like the sequel, or was the sequel?
Yeah.
Kind of.
This was wow. This was like such a just fun project to work on. Like overall, it was just pure fun. For me, like the biggest difference really was that I got to work on Watch Dogs 2 from day one, basically. So I was there the first day we kind of like officialize the project, and I got to see it evolve and change and transform and tweak, and I got to participate in like all the internal gates that we do and all the process. So it was from a learning experience, it was amazing. But it also makes it even more amazing when you get to that final point and you release the game, and it just really changes. It was really different in that way, where it was kind of like a bit more my baby, if I could say it, because I was really there from day one, and you feel like, oh my god, you grew up so fast. Like I cannot believe that more than 2 years just flew by like that, and boom, we're already released. And what was weird was that I actually spent the release day of the game on a plane. So I was up in the air, and I was hopefully there was good Wi-Fi on this plane, because I don't know what I would have done. But I was just like on the plane reading reviews and watching people stream the game and like talking to everyone on like Discord and Reddit and just trying to keep up. So it was a bit weird because I was not with the team when it released, but it was something I'll definitely never forget.
I think it says something about the launch and like the project as a whole, that like, we say it was so much fun. That doesn't mean that it was necessarily easy. There were a lot of hours.
No.
And a lot of long nights and a lot of gray hairs, and stuff that went into it. But it speaks a lot to it, that when we look back on it, we're like, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I don't know what past David would say, maybe slap future David in the face, but yeah, I did have fun.
Now, like, I want to kind of get into the story a bit, and it's up to you, whoever wants to answer this, because these are going to be tough again. I'm sorry. But like, I wanted to know, was DedSec always intended to be sort of the main focus of Watch Dogs 2? Like, was there any other ideas or pitches? Because like, I'm sure like Aiden could have been considered to be, the main character of the sequel at one point, and like, so was just DedSec always intended to be the main character?
So, honestly, like, and I'm being completely honest, as far as I can remember, and the only part of the story that I don't know is like during Jonathan's and Dominic's vacation, where I wasn't there with them. But except from that, like, yes, I actually remember our first official meeting for Watch Dogs 2, where John kind of started to really explain his vision to everyone and how he was picturing the game to be. And it was really clear, even from day one, that the team really wanted to go deeper into not only like hacking and technology, of course, but also the people behind it. Like, Aiden was not as much as a hacker, and he was kind of a super skilled all-around dude that was able to use hacking tools that were made by DedSec. So from the beginning, we thought like, okay, this time around, you know what, like you need to be playing a hacker. You need to be part of a hacking group, and you need to understand and feel what this culture is all about. So really for us, seeing the world through the eyes of like a hacking group, and in that case, DedSec really was like a logical step. Like it was not something that we kind of like brainstormed around for like months and months trying to figure out what was the game going to be. It felt like a really natural extension of the experience that we wanted to create, and it was a really fun one, and it's definitely one that was filled with like crazy opportunities. And I also like how, so I don't know if you remember in Bad Blood, we kind of already started to touch a bit more, and it was subtle, but a bit more in DedSec. Like there was this little side mission where you could get to learn a bit more about like the Council of Daves, and you get to learn a bit more about how Default and his relationship with the hacking group was kind of working. So you already get a sense of like, okay, there's more than one group. They don't really like each other that much. They have different attitude and way of thinking and way of acting. So I feel like it was a good foundation, and I feel like after that it was like a natural extension of, okay, we need to get there. And I was really psyched that like we got to go even deeper for that. But of course, there's a lot of things that kind of changes during the development of a game. I mean, DedSec was not, when we started, exactly as it was today. For example, some like characters might have been really different, but it was still, DedSec at the center of it. And I answered yes to your question. So I feel like I should maybe give you a little something more. But like I said, there's a lot of characters that were different, and so there's a lot of like things that we haven't necessarily communicated about, because we don't really talk about what changed in the game and what kind of like in what way it actually changes. So I feel like you and all your viewers, we could play a little game together, and if ever someone actually get not the right answer but what I'm looking for, I'll do my best to go back in time and see if I can get visual material for these changes. So I'm gonna do my best. I can't promise anything because there's a lot of Ubi ninjas everywhere, but I'll definitely do my best. So I'm gonna give you kind of like the eye level big change that the game went through at some point, but not in details. And if someone out there is able to come up with like what it was and give me a bit more context, like I want some context, I want some lore into it, I want you to like inspire me a bit. And if someone kind of like struck gold and figure out what it was, then I'll definitely go and try to get material for it, because I feel it's cool. It's been a year. I feel like we need to like celebrate what this game was and what it is today. So here's the thing. Here we go. Someone that we consider good today was really bad at the time, and someone that we consider really bad today was really good at the time, and add a twin. Boom.
So is this like for Watch Dogs 2 specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It will be interesting to see what people come up with for that. I'm sure there will be lots of theories.
I'm actually looking forward to see what people are going to come up with. But it's things changes during the development of a game. So we do try a lot of things, and I felt like it would be cool to see how people would react to that and what they would come up with. So impress me.
Okay, well, there you guys go. There's a challenge for you. But now I kind of want to talk about Aiden just a bit more. And spoilers, if you haven't played the second game, he's in the second game through a side mission. And I want to know, how the hell did he end up in San Francisco? And why was he captured?
Okay. So to be completely honest with you, like, I would need to see if there's actually someone that has like a really defined, super clear narrative explanation behind all this. I'm pretty sure that there's like a there's the beginning of I know the beginning of the logical explanation, but I don't think I could go really in depth into it. So basically, when we finish Bad Blood, we have this, when we start Bad Blood, we have this little conversation with T-Bone, I don't know if you remember, where Aiden states that he's kind of like going off the grid. And, but there's also this, the thing that Aiden says when you complete the first game about how kind of like now that he's able to see everything, it's kind of like really hard for him to look back and not do anything about it. So for me, I mean, Aiden has always been like a really special person. he's a man with good intention, but he's also a bit broken inside, and it kind of leads him to not always make the best decisions. So if we go to Watch Dogs 2 and we try to like understand what he's doing there, I mean, and that's to be honest, it's kind of my personal how I'm personally kind of like twisting all this together, and from what I know from the writers and from what I know about what was their intention about bringing him back. Of course, there's, you know, we want to bring him back because we know it's going to make a lot of people happy, right?
Yeah, literally when the game was announced, everyone on Twitter was like, "Is Aiden going to be in the game?" Like, obviously.
I mean, and it's not just for you guys; it's also for us. I mean, we spent so much time with him, and we feel like he totally deserved to have this kind of like little wink in the game, definitely. But on a more like motivation spec, like of what would he be doing there? I mean, there's different elements. There's the fact that DedSec, you know, he was kind of like starting to work with DedSec at the end of the first game. There's the fact that DedSec San Francisco are becoming really, really big. There's also the fact that T-Bone is in San Francisco now. So could it have anything to do with that? And yeah, and Tobias, even if they don't have like a really great relationship, but I think it was more for T-Bone. But there's also that, and there's also this, you know, kind of not addiction, but like Aiden is kind of crazy about trying to fix everything that's wrong, and he's tackling this whole gang issue that's really kind of like going on in the Bay Area during the Watch Dogs 2 time. So I feel there's a lot of reason for him to be there, and I think it's like I want people to kind of like create their own story about it also. So, but I'm pretty sure there's like maybe somewhere in a document like on the network, maybe a more defined explanation, but again, I like to leave the door open.
So like in a way, would you say it was just kind of like an Easter egg? Like, would that be fair to say?
No, I wouldn't say Easter egg, to be honest. Like, there's a bit of that. It's definitely more than an Easter egg. It could be considered as an Easter egg because, you know, it's a short thing. Like, he's not necessarily part of the main narrative. But I think also for the team, it's a way to let everyone know that, you know, hey, this guy is still alive and we still care about him, you know?
And like, just kind of speaking about Easter eggs, like the Shuffler outfit. Now, I don't know if you would consider this an Easter egg or not, but I know like one thing that surprised people a lot about Watch Dogs 2 was this outfit, and I don't know the exact time frame, but this was found, you know, within like the first 6 months of release, I want to say. And like, what was both of your reactions to this? Because like personally, I don't know how in the world people figured this out, especially so fast.
Hey boy.
To be completely honest with you, I'm not surprised that people figured it out as quickly as they did. I mean, I think there's something to be said for, you know, the creativity and ingenuity of gamers to solve things. I mean, anytime you put a game into a gamer's hands, they'll always find things that, you know, the devs never thought that they would, or will break things in ways that the devs never thought they could break. I mean, you know, this is somewhat related, but anytime, you know, a lot of times before we release a game, sometimes we'll invite fans out, like really hardcore fans of the studio to play the game before anyone else does, you know, to get their thoughts. And, you know, sometimes we'll do competitions from, you know, the best members of the dev team against, you know, the players. And like pretty much 100% of the time, players will beat the devs, and it's just like do not ever underestimate the
Never.
community ever. Yeah, and it was like, okay, is this going to be solved in a matter of minutes or an hour, or but that said, this was something, the whole Shuffler episode was something that was rolled out over a period of time. So we got to watch players in the Discord channel, and online, working to crack all of the little clues and hunting things along the way. So, when the portal finally opened and people were able to get to the Shuffler, was not surprised at how long it took, to be honest. That's a good thing. That's a compliment.
But can you hear me? Sorry. Oh, okay, sorry. So yeah, this whole thing kind of started in like October-ish, where me and Hani were working on the Satara block post.
He just dropped from the call.
Oh yeah, he's out. Yeah, I don't think that the Shuffler wanted David to give away the secrets of its origin.
That was actually perfect timing. Chase, like when I actually made a video on that because the Discord found it out, and then I saw it on Reddit, and now that video just has over 1 million views, which it's crazy to think about, because it's just something you guys kind of added in, and it's an outfit. I mean, it's a badass outfit with the cool animation and everything, and this whole you have to solve this mystery. But were you surprised that that many people were interested in this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was obviously as intended, because this was not something that we talked about, and David will, now that he's back, will follow up and give the story to this. But this was something that was that started forming around Satara's blog. We had this Tumblr account that we kind of used as a mouthpiece for Satara's, I guess you could say, propaganda, or
Am I back? Thoughts. Sorry, what happened?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
The Shuffler sucked you into the wall.
Where did I cut? Sorry.
You were talking about you and Hani working on the Satara thing. I was just explaining. He was asking if we were surprised at the attention that it got. And in some ways, yes. It's not that it wasn't cool, because it was cool. It was disturbing. I mean, there were whispers on the floor of have you heard about this Shuffler thing? Have you heard the audio? And we would play the audio for each other and be like, oh my god, that's terrifying, But yeah, to see your video get up to 1 million views of people trying to get this, that was really cool, especially for something that was just kind of a weird, quirky brainchild of a small group here.
David, before you respond, I just want to quickly say there is people to this day that still believe it's real, and that I faked that whole video. I don't know why, but there's people who just don't believe me, and I'm like, just follow the video, the steps. They don't believe that the Shuffler outfit is real. That whole video I made, they just said it's fake, and I lied. It's just I don't understand.
Deny the Shuffler at your own peril.
It's definitely real. Yeah, but where was I? Sorry.
Satara's blog post, the story behind it.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So, we started to work on what we were going to do about it, and Nicolo, our developer, came to us, and he was like, okay, so we want to do something weird. We don't really know what it is yet, but we feel like we're going to need a way to talk to player outside of the game. So we said, oh, we have this cool thing that we're working on. It's Tara's blog. It could be a great way to talk to, players and fans in a more in a less official way. So come back to us with not a brief, but a general idea of what you want to do, and we'll see how we can, implement it into our all the different posts that we were planning. And then he came back to us, I think a month and a half after that. And I just remember getting the brief of it and just reading the whole thing and just being like, what the F? what is that? Okay. So I went to his desk and I was like, okay, first, I'm pretty sure it's something that Ethan came with. And he was like, yeah. So Ethan is one of the writer on the Watch Dogs, and he wrote Bad Blood. So he was an assistant writer on the first game, and he wrote Bad Blood, and then he became more of a director on Watch Dogs 2. So it's okay, Ethan do creepy stuff. So I was like, okay, it makes sense. And so for people who don't know, the Shuffler is this kind of like urban legend that he invented surrounding the Bay Area, where we wanted to create like a creepy mystery about people starting to hear weird noises in their ear, and it was kind of a shuffling sound, and it would drive them crazy until the point where they felt they would completely disappear by being like shuffled into a crack in a wall. So I was just, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's okay. So are we selling that? And we started to like build this old plan of, so okay, this was gonna happen. Players are gonna be doing this, and then this is gonna happen, and then we're gonna release this image and this blog post. So we crafted this old narrative around the Shuffler that was so cool, to be honest. It was like one of the coolest thing I had to work with. And I just remember the first day that it released, and the first person kind of like found the first like Shuffler tag in the world, and then posted a picture of it, and people were like, I don't remember that, that's weird. And then someone else came out and say, oh shit, I took a picture of it, and now shit is going crazy and I don't understand what's going on. And then this hunt started, and people started to make link with the blog, but so quickly. And then in like not even an hour, the Discord channel had this specific channel for the Shuffler, and people were starting to give each other like roles in the community, and you're in charge of that, and we divide the map. And I was like, okay, we're fucked. This is gonna take literally 2 hours, and they're gonna be done with it. Like, these people are so organized. What the hell? They started their own like detective agency, and from there it was just like, it was such a fun ride. I mean, I was not surprised, honestly, by the amount of time that it took to kind of solve all the puzzle, because like Chase said, you can never underestimate like the brilliant mind of so many people combined together. But it was definitely amazing to just like, I would lurk the Discord channel all the time. Like, I would be at parties with friends like at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I would be sitting in the corner with my drink and just reading people trying to solve clues. And my friend would be like, what the hell are you doing? I'd just be like, you and get it. It's okay. Give me like an hour. But it was just such a rush to watch everyone trying to like solve all of the things and trying to figure out what was going to happen until the very end. And honestly, if I look at everything regarding like what I've done in Watch Dogs 1 and Watch Dogs 2, it was definitely one of like the craziest thing that gave me like such a rush in terms of like, we were rooting for you guys over here. People on the floor were just like so hyped every time someone would like crack something new and would lead to another clue. And it was just like, people were just like almost like creating shirts with your face on it, just rooting for their favorite like Shuffler hunter. And it was definitely like a really cool thing. That what I like is that it created like a sense of community with you guys, like on the different channels, but also like on the team. Like we really had like a dev Shuffler team that were just like talking to each other in the elevator and saying like, oh, did you see that? Yes, they reached that point, and I'm wondering how long it's gonna take them to reach the other one, and blah blah blah. And it was just so cool to like walk in the office and hear everyone talk about the Shuffler. It was like a crazy experience, amazing experience. And I think the only thing that Nicola is gonna remember from all of this is never underestimate the community. Never underestimate the community.
Yep.
And I have to give a shout out again to the Watch Dogs Discord, for like figuring that out and working together.
Yes.
I'll have a link to it in the description, so if you haven't already joined it, please do so. It's an awesome community.
So the Discord and the subreddit too. I mean, the Discord was born out of the subreddit, and both of those communities are like some of our strongest places for community, and that was just started by fans, and we help support it, and and we do what we can to promote it and provide them with info and give away stuff sometimes or whatever. But it's done a really incredible job, and Brett, obviously having you be a presence in there is really helpful to the community as well. So yeah, I'm super impressed with everything that they've done.
Yeah, shout out to everyone.
Shout
out to everyone.
Yeah, just literally everyone. And,
Except for the ones that don't deserve shout-outs, but everyone else get a shout-out.
and like speaking of things after release, like obviously the shuffler was added, sort of after, but you guys also added a new ending to the game. David, you probably know where this is going, and Chase too. But yeah, there is two people having a conversation about DedSec spreading, and the coordinates on their call, lead to London. I'm not going to ask, if, the next game is set in London, because you can't answer that. So I guess my question is, why did you add this ending? And is it maybe possibly hinting towards something?
I mean, after a game launched, we always tend to update things, right? Like we tweak certain levels, we update certain features, we clarify certain aspect in maybe the way the tutorial is presented, or we try to just basically make the game better, right? And it's something that happens all the time in the industry, and I feel so it's just something that happened here, right? It's definitely not something that you see often when it comes to the narrative of the game, that's for sure. But for me, that's how I see it. Like I don't want to say don't read into it too much, but for us, it was just another way to say, okay, so, we launched the game, we're improving a lot of things, and we're getting feedback on certain aspects, including the ending of the game and how it ends, and how people seem to feel they want to know a bit more what's going on after all this, So for us to add this extra layer of contextual narrative elements once you beat the game was a way to just like you can balance a weapon, or just like you can tweak the level design of a mission. It was a way for us to tweak a bit the narrative, and in the specific part, the ending of the narrative, to give you a bit more context of like, okay, well, this happened, but keep in mind that, you kind of won, you've won like a certain part of the war, but you haven't won the full war yet. And we just want to be able to give people ways to like keep on dreaming and thinking about what could happen into this world. And so I would like to have like a magic answer for you, but it's more about how and I'm super glad that we had time to it's rare that you see narrative getting updated or tweaked in a game, So I'm super glad we had this opportunity, and it's a way for us to kind of say, hey, people who already finished the game, we hear your feedback and we're giving you this little extra something, but it's always a way for us to say, hey, people who haven't played the game yet, when you're going to play it for the first time, it's going to be even better because we're listening to what you want and we're improving the game as we go. So it's mostly a question of it's a question of balancing the game in every aspect when it released, and this specific change was related to narrative. So yeah, I like this ending a lot. I like the mystery guy at the end who seems really, really pissed.
So I guess to, add on to the story, there's obviously DLC. So was there originally talks about having a DLC, for Wrench, Josh, Tara, or maybe even T-Bone again? Because I can't tell you just from my videos alone how many comments I've seen asking, for a Wrench DLC specifically, and I'm sure you guys saw a lot of people tweeting about it. So was there any talks about having one?
Yeah. So again, I'm not going to pretend to talk for the entire Watch Dogs team, and I'm going to go to the extent of my knowledge here. But of course, when you start working on a game, you go all in, right? You prototype and brainstorm and put on the table all the possibilities and things that would be cool. And this is, doing a DLC centered on a character with a more narrative-driven approach, in kind of more as an extension, was something that we've done on Watch Dogs 1 and felt like it was a really cool thing that we've done, and we were really proud of Bad Blood. And as we were building Watch Dogs 2, of course, at some point, maybe people try to figure out, okay, is this something we could do for the game? But for Watch Dogs 2, we wanted to do something a bit more different for post-launch post-launch content, and something I feel like is really great. Watch Dogs 1 add this more like classic expansion with taking another character and pushing it further and creating like something that's completely different. And it's great because you can explore like new narrative, new modes, new characters, but it comes with compromises, right? Like, for example, Bad Blood, you couldn't share the progression of the first game, or like the online activities could only be played in Bad Blood because it was really like an expansion. And for Watch Dogs 2, because we knew we wanted our post-launch content to have like a lot of online components, and we wanted to push Seamless even further, we felt it was not like a good fit to keep being forced to maybe not kind of split the community. There's that, but we feel like we wanted to do something a bit more organic, So if someone buys the game, and that's, I think, like I said, it always comes with compromises, right? But what I like about the Watch Dogs 2 Human Condition and No Compromise is that if you buy the game today and you buy the 2 DLC and you start a new game, you won't necessarily even know what's DLC and what's not, right? These new DedSec operation will just push the narrative even further and add even more character expression and allow the player to dig even more deeper in this world and this lore that we're creating. And they're just going to appear organically as you explore the world. And we felt it was something really, really cool. And it also allowed us to keep all the weapons, the multiplayer modes, the new cars, it allowed us to keep all of this for everyone without breaking the community. So, I mean, yes, at some point you always say, okay, well, it would be cool to do that, but then you need to understand that it comes with certain aspect of the game that you're going to have to make compromises on. And for Watch Dogs 2, we felt like it was better for everyone to just keep on expanding on the massive game that we created instead of like just cutting slices,
Honestly, like I've never really even thought of it like that, just from like a developer standpoint of all the challenges, like you just said, and it kind of cuts away some content. I never really thought about that, and I'm sure like a lot of people don't either.
And we don't ask people to think about that, right? I mean, your job is to play the game, and we want you to play the game and have fun. And it's our trouble to kind of like figure out all these things as we go. But there's definitely a lot of challenges that goes into it, and it's more about, I think there's no right or wrong answer to it. It's more like what makes the more sense into the experience that we're trying to build, and what do we feel will kind of like give a better experience to the player on the long term. And for Watch Dogs 2, yes, I'm pretty sure a lot of developers in the team would have loved to work on like a massive French DLC because everyone likes French. But it was like, okay, we feel like it's going to be a lot better for the game to keep on pushing, free updates with like multiplayer modes and all these things and weapons and different types of activities that you can do. And we can only do that if we kind of like don't split the community, right? And if we always keep you in the main game. And the way to do that is to add new DedSec operations. So, I mean, I think it was a really great idea because, like I said, what I like is that if you start the game for the first time, it really blurs the line between like you don't have a separate menu with, oh, do you want to play the main game or you want to start this new side adventure? It's like it's all in there, and it just creates like a massive experience.
Okay, and I have one last question, and it's like, is there any more Easter eggs that people really haven't found out? Because I know in Watch Dogs, you guys did like an anniversary stream and then revealed, the ice cream truck and fire truck Easter egg, which everyone loved. So is there anything, else on top of that?
That we can't confirm, because the thing about Easter eggs is that it's not like there's some official list of Easter eggs that is circulated among the dev team. Like someone might have snuck like a picture of their like grandpa in a room somewhere in a frame that no one knew about, and got it in there. So to say definitively that there's nothing else and that you have found everything, I don't think that either of us could do. You never know. Like There's, you know about the there's the one. David, help me out on this one. There's like the one. I think it's like it's almost kind of a glitch where if you're in the hacker space, like and like doing a certain thing, like you hear like a kid laughing.
Yeah, if you go into NetHack in a specific spot, you hear our audio director child singing and crying.
Yeah, he like snuck in his kids.
Which a lot of people thought it was part of the shuffler mystery at some point.
Yeah,
they thought they were hearing the shuffler literally in the hackerspace. But yeah, definitely like Chase said, I mean, I knew for a fact that there are things in the game that certain people put and I don't know about. Like, because they don't want to say it, right? They want to keep it their little secret. But of course, they're not massive thing like, I don't know, the shuffler or things like that. It's more like personal, I would say, signature that they put.
All the big ones at this point have probably been.
I mean, I feel like I'm comfortable to say that at this point, I feel like you guys have found all the big ones. But then again, it's impossible for me to confirm that I know all of the Easter eggs. So, who knows?
There's like an Easter egg in the first and second game where, you know, the keychain in a car is My Little Pony. Do you guys know about that? Okay, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew about that for some reason.
Yes, there's also a lot of things that we're not really aware of before the game launches, and then you guys found everything, you know, in like a week, and then we're like, okay, seriously, who put that in? Like,
Yeah,
who's the person responsible for this? Like, who did that?
I won't reference exactly what it was, but yeah, I remember one specific thing like that. They're like, "What does this mean?" And we're like, we totally know, but we'll have to get back to you.
And we actually really don't know.
I want to say I know something for Watch Dogs 1 that shouldn't have been there, but I'm not going to say it.
That should not have been there. I'm interested now.
It's a magazine.
We're gonna have to.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you know what? I think I know about that. But let's take this conversation on a secured channel.
Okay. So to end this, do you guys just have any final thoughts or things to say to everyone watching?
Wow. I mean, I've always, to be honest, and you know, everyone says that and it's super cheesy and blah blah blah. So you guys can, you know, I'm gonna get it out of the way right now. But this is something I've took a lot of pride into since I've been working on this brand, and this is also something that I feel Chase and Annie really helped us kind of push. But this is the Watch Dogs community got to be one of the most amazing, polite, non-toxic, genuinely awesome community that I've seen like ever. Like the people that we've been kind of like connecting to in all these years are just amazing person, and honestly you've been a big part of what makes this adventure such a great adventure. And honestly, from all the dev team in Montreal and all the other studios of Ubisoft around the world, I want to give you guys a big shout out, because we wouldn't be here if it was from you, and you make the little things big things for us, and you make all the little pleasure big pleasure, and you make the little moments amazing moments. And I feel, I mean, I know it's sometimes complicated to understand your part in all of this because, well, you're not here with us, but let me tell you that when we say developers do care and they do listen, and that you guys matter from a publisher and developer perspective, I really mean it. And I couldn't be more proud to be part of this community and to have met all of you guys. And honestly, just thank you. Just a big thank you from the heart.
Chase, good luck following that up.
I completely agree with everything that David said. I'm incredibly grateful for everyone in the Watch Dogs community. It hasn't always been all sunshine and roses. As games are, sometimes there are hiccups and temporary technical issues that we've dealt with. And one thing that's always struck me is that the Watch Dogs community was always very open to hearing what we had to say. We do our best to be as transparent as possible, and and tell you guys when things are going on, and when they're going to be fixed if there are issues and stuff like that. And everyone had been incredibly reasonable the entire time. Even in the before we launched the game, there were some skeptics, and we did our best to, we created videos and try to demystify some of the things that are going on in the game, and people were willing to listen. And then when other skeptics would come in, they'd be like, no, like check out this video or da 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 da. And like that, and that really meant a lot to me. There's some people in the gaming community that will just outright reject whatever you say as conspiratorial like lies or whatever. But I really felt like there was a strong connection between the people who play the games and the people who are making the games. So thank you for being a part of this journey with us, and trying out some of the experimental new things that we were doing, and the new modes, and joining our live streams and all that stuff. Like, it was just, for me, it was a really great time in my life, and I'm thankful for everyone that was there and made it a great time. So thank you guys. You're all pretty dope.
And I think I speak, for like everyone. Just thank you guys for creating this amazing franchise, and just, being active on Twitter and just responding to everyone, and, constructive criticism. You guys, actually listen to it. And I know there is people who just, hate for no reason, but, there is.
Oh, that's
like,
there will always
yeah.
be people that hate for no reason, and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against those people. They're everyone is different, and we're happy to talk to the people who want to talk, and happy to giggle at the people who come up with creative ways in which we should die. Like, that's fine.
Well, like,
I mean, I appreciate a well-constructed insult. It's
but like, just from like community perspective, you guys are like amazing. There's the inner circle, and like, just again, you guys are always active on every platform, no matter what. So it means a lot. I hope like everyone kind of feels the same way as me. And just, if you guys want to follow Chase or David on Twitter, I'll have links to their accounts in the description, as well as the subreddit and Discord. And yeah, just thank you guys again for joining me. Thanks to everyone watching, and happy birthday, Watch Dogs 2.
Happy birthday.